At the funeral of Britain's late Prime Minister, world leaders from every major nation gather in London. But the ceremony suddenly turns into a nightmare as coordinated terrorist attacks assassinate the supreme leaders of Germany, Italy, France, and Japan. The entire world falls into fear and chaos. Who is behind these deadly attacks, and why are they targeting global leaders? With those answers, today's explanation dives into the 2016 action thriller London Has Fallen. Trust me, this movie goes absolutely insane from start to finish. The story begins in a remote village in Pakistan, where a convoy drives through the desert while a radio reports a horrifying tragedy. In Manila, Philippines, a massive terrorist attack has killed 231 people and injured countless others, making it one of the deadliest attacks in Asian history. Although no group has officially claimed responsibility, investigators believe the explosives were supplied by the world's most dangerous arms dealer, Amir Barkawi. Ironically, the vehicle carrying the radio broadcast belongs to Barkawi's own family. His son, Kamran, arrives to warn him that international intelligence agencies are now watching them closely. He also reveals that a German spy sent to Pakistan was recently tracked down and executed. Barkawi coldly orders his men to eliminate the agent's family as well, refusing to leave behind any future threat. What Kamran doesn't realize is that his own family is only moments away from destruction. High above the wedding ceremony, a U.S. Air Force drone is secretly monitoring the event while an undercover agent quietly slips out after giving the green signal. Seconds later, the strike is launched. A devastating missile tears through the celebration, wiping out Amir and nearly his entire family in a single attack. 2 years later, Mike Banning is back on duty, running beside the presidential motorcade as one of America's top Secret Service agents. His job is simple: protect the president at any cost. But after years of risking his life, Mike is exhausted and ready to leave the service behind. When he returns home, we learn why. His wife Leah is pregnant, and with their child due very soon, Mike wants to spend more time with his family instead of living under constant pressure and danger. He even begins writing his resignation letter. Meanwhile, President Benjamin Asher receives shocking news at the White House. British Prime Minister James Wilson has suddenly died. A massive state funeral in London is being arranged, and world leaders from every major nation are expected to attend. As preparations begin for the president's trip to England, Mike receives an unexpected phone call from the White House. The phone call instantly destroys Mike's plan to resign because he is being assigned as the president's lead security officer for the London trip. He quickly heads to the White House, where he and Secret Service Director Lynn brief President Benjamin Asher on the massive security operations surrounding the visit. Any international trip involving the U.S. president is considered extremely dangerous, since the risk of an assassination attempt is always high. For the next 3 days, Mike is ordered to stay beside the president like a shadow. Meanwhile, British intelligence and the military prepare one of the largest security operations in the country's history. Nearly every major world leader is expected to attend the Prime Minister's funeral in London, making the event a potential nightmare for security agencies. On the day of the ceremony, presidents and prime ministers from around the world begin arriving across the city under heavy protection. President Benjamin leaves the airport with his armored motorcade and heads towards St. Paul's Cathedral, where the royal funeral will take place. Anticipating possible attacks on the road, Mike changes the schedule and gets the president to the cathedral earlier than expected. His strategy is simple. If anyone is planning an ambush, surprising them with an early arrival could ruin the entire operation. The plan works perfectly, and the president safely reaches the cathedral without incident. For a while, everything at the funeral appears completely normal. But as world leaders begin arriving one after another, something suspicious happens outside the cathedral. A police officer assigned to bomb inspection discovers an explosive device beneath the Italian president's vehicle. Instead of raising the alarm, he silently clears the car and allows it to pass through security. At that moment, it becomes obvious that something massive is about to happen. Seconds later, chaos erupts. Just after entering the ceremony area, the Italian motorcade explodes in a devastating blast, instantly killing everyone inside. Panic spreads through the crowd as armed men disguised as police officers suddenly open fire from every direction. At the same time, attackers dressed as the Queen's guards join the assault, turning the entire area into a war zone. The moment the shooting begins, Mike Banning quickly shields President Benjamin Asher and fights back, taking down several terrorists himself. Meanwhile, explosions continue across London. Motorcades carrying other world leaders are targeted one after another. A massive bridge near St. Paul's Cathedral collapses, killing the German chancellor after his vehicle plunges into the river. Moments later, the French president's yacht explodes as well. Within minutes, The leaders of Canada, Germany, Japan, Italy, and France are all assassinated in coordinated attacks. Amid the nonstop gunfire outside the cathedral, Mike Banning continues doing everything possible to keep President Benjamin Asher alive. Terrorists disguised as police officers keep firing at them with heavy weapons, even launching explosive rounds that send nearby vehicles flying through the air. When one burning car crashes onto the president's armored limousine, escape through that vehicle becomes impossible. Thinking quickly, Mike orders another agent to bring a replacement car. As bullets rain down from every direction, Mike manages to shield the president and Lynn long enough to get them safely inside the new vehicle before speeding away from the attack zone. Watching them escape, one of the fake police officers immediately calls someone and reports the car details. The man receiving the call is revealed to be Kamran, Amir's son, confirming that he survived the drone strike from the opening scene. The attacks across London are all part of his revenge plan against the United States. Although the terrorists successfully assassinated several world leaders, Mike's skill and fast thinking prevented them from capturing Benjamin. But Kamran has no intention of letting the president escape. He sends armed attackers on motorcycles and in police cars after them. During the intense chase, Mike uses sharp driving skills to ram pursuing vehicles and flip them off the road one by one. The chase through London becomes even more intense as Mike Banning opens the car door mid-drive and starts taking out the bikers chasing them with incredible precision. One by one, the attackers crash to the ground as Mike lands impossible shots while speeding through the city. After several more minutes of chaos, he eliminates even more enemies, but the armored vehicle begins losing its bulletproof protection. Suddenly, a bullet breaks through the glass and kills the driver instantly. Without hesitation, Mike takes control of the wheel himself and keeps pushing forward at full speed. More bikers pull up beside the car and attempt to climb through the windows, but Mike slams them into poles and barriers, brutally taking them out during the pursuit. He then throws the car into reverse and wipes out the remaining attackers behind him. Finally, Mike reaches the extraction point and stops beside the president's helicopter, managing to get Benjamin safely on board. The action sequence here is absolutely wild. Meanwhile, the movie reveals that not only Kamran but also Amir Barkawi survived the earlier drone strike. The attack killed much of their family, including Amir's daughter and her fiancé, and this entire operation is their revenge against America. Speaking with Sultan through a laptop, Amir declares that they have changed the world forever. Seconds later, Sultan shuts down London's electrical grid, plunging the entire city into darkness. As London falls deeper into chaos, the British military orders every civilian to stay inside their homes, while Vice President Alan Trumbull monitors the situation remotely from Washington. Using surveillance drones, American officials keep tracking the president's helicopter as it attempts to escape the city. But even the skies are no longer safe. Suddenly, attackers on the ground launch rockets toward the aircraft convoy. President Benjamin Asher is traveling aboard Marine 1, protected by two escort helicopters, Marine 2 and Marine 3. The terrorists first destroy Marine 3 with a direct rocket hit. Moments later, Marine 2 sacrifices itself trying to shield the president's aircraft from incoming fire. Despite that effort, the attackers launch a deadly missile straight at Marine 1. The explosion heavily damages the helicopter, forcing it into a brutal crash landing. Watching the disaster unfold through drone footage, everyone at the White House assumes the president is dead. But against all odds, Mike Banning and Benjamin survive the crash. Unfortunately, Lynn suffers a fatal injury after being struck by metal debris inside the helicopter. Before dying, she makes Mike promise to stay alive for the sake of his unborn child. Devastated by the loss of one of his closest friends, Mike leaves her body behind in the wreckage and desperately tries contacting his team, only to realize the radio system has been destroyed. With armed bikers still hunting them down, Mike Banning forces President Benjamin Asher to run through the dark woods outside London. Mike explains that a nearby subway station has underground tunnels that could provide temporary safety, so the two men head there as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, Amir Barkawi releases a video message to the entire world, revealing that the attacks were revenge for the deaths of his family members during the American drone strike. He directly contacts the White House and demands that Benjamin be handed over to him alive. According to Amir, the order for the drone attack originally came from the president himself, and he now wants to execute Benjamin publicly on live television as revenge. Vice President Alan Trumbull immediately rejects the demand, but Amir responds by threatening to kill even more civilians if the president is not surrendered. At the same time, Mike and Benjamin finally reach the subway station. Before entering, Mike knocks out a fake police officer and steals his pistol and ammunition. Inside the tunnels, more terrorists are already waiting for them. but Mike uses his combat skills to eliminate every attacker. After taking down the last enemy, he finds a phone where Kamran is demanding an update. When Mike identifies himself over the call, Kamran coldly replies that they should have killed the president much earlier. Kamran warns that because of the president, countless innocent civilians are now going to die. But Mike Banning refuses to back down, telling him that as long as he is alive, nobody will even touch President Benjamin Asher. To send a message, Mike brutally kills one of the captured attackers, making it clear that surviving this situation means becoming just as ruthless as the terrorists hunting them. After clearing out the subway station, Mike and Benjamin hide there temporarily to recover and plan their next move. Realizing how dangerous the situation has become, Benjamin asks Mike to promise that if capture becomes unavoidable, he must kill him before the terrorists can take him hostage. Mike reluctantly agrees, but insists that his top priority is still getting the president out alive. Back in Washington, White House officials carefully analyze drone footage from the helicopter crash and discover that Benjamin survived. The moment they confirm he is still alive, hope returns inside the command center. From Mike's hand signals caught on surveillance footage, they realize he is trying to reach an MI6 safe house somewhere in London. Vice President Alan Trumbull immediately orders a rescue team to prepare. British intelligence also reports that many of Amir's men are disguised as police officers across London, making it nearly impossible to tell friend from enemy. Investigators additionally confirm that Prime Minister James Wilson was assassinated through poisoning. By now, it becomes clear that every part of the attack was planned with terrifying precision. Moving carefully through the city, Mike Banning finally manages to get President Benjamin Asher into an MI6 safe house. The location is overseen by Jacqueline, who welcomes them inside and gives them a chance to rest after the nonstop chaos. Using Jacqueline's laptop, they send a message to Vice President Alan Trumbull, who promises that a Delta Force rescue team is already on its way. Hearing this finally gives Benjamin a moment of relief, but only minutes later, security cameras show armed soldiers arriving outside the safe house. Benjamin initially believes the rescue team has arrived, but Mike instantly realizes something is wrong. The weapons carried by the supposed soldiers are not standard Delta Force equipment, and there's no way a real rescue unit could have reached them that quickly. Mike understands immediately that the attackers are disguised terrorists sent to kill the president. Knowing escape is impossible, he grabs weapons and ammunition from the safe house and prepares for a final stand. He even hands Benjamin a pistol for protection. Mike orders Jacqueline to leave because staying without combat training would be suicide. Suspicious that someone inside British intelligence leaked the safe house location, Jacqueline rushes to MI6 headquarters, convinced there is a traitor within their own ranks. The fake Delta Force team eventually storms the safe house, but Mike Banning wastes no time fighting back. Using stealth, he silently takes out two attackers with a knife before a massive gunfight erupts inside the building. Armed terrorists rush through the halls, but Mike cuts them down one after another with ruthless efficiency. At one point, an attacker crashes through the ceiling and jumps directly on him, only to be killed seconds later in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Mike's combat skills during this entire sequence are honestly insane. After clearing several rooms, Mike suddenly faces another attacker sneaking up behind him. But this time, President Benjamin Asher saves Mike by shooting the terrorist himself. The two men then escape through the parking garage in a bulletproof vehicle and head toward the American embassy. However, Mike already suspects the terrorists are waiting for them there. As they race through the streets, heavy gunfire rains down from both sides, but the armored vehicle barely manages to survive the ambush. Just when escape seems possible, a massive truck slams into their car and flips it over. The attackers quickly capture the injured Benjamin and drag him away. Mike desperately fires at them, but he cannot stop the kidnapping. Only moments later, the real U.S. Delta Force finally arrives. Their commander promises Mike that they will do everything possible to rescue the president, and Mike immediately joins the mission armed and ready for war. The White House finally receives a critical piece of intelligence about Amir Barkawi. Investigators trace repeated communications to a building in London believed to be Kamran's main hideout, and the location where President Benjamin Asher is being held hostage. As Delta Force prepares to launch a rescue operation, Jacqueline arrives at British intelligence headquarters and warns Chief Hazard that someone inside their own agency is leaking information to the terrorists. Although shocked by the accusation, Hazard still advises Mike to wait 20 more minutes before attacking because the building is heavily occupied by armed terrorists. But Mike Banning refuses to waste any more time, knowing the president could be executed at any moment. Seconds later, an all-out firefight erupts between Delta Force and the terrorists guarding the building. Waves of attackers rush forward, firing automatic weapons and rockets. But Mike and the Delta Force captain fight back relentlessly, taking down enemies one after another. Several Delta Force soldiers are killed during the brutal battle, yet the assault team keeps advancing. The terrorists even bring in armored vehicles equipped with machine guns, but Delta Force destroys them before they can cause serious damage. As explosions and gunfire shake the entire building, Mike learns the exact location where Benjamin is being held. Before entering, the team destroys the building's external generator, cutting the power and plunging the hideout into darkness. After the power is cut, Kamran quickly orders the emergency generators to be activated so the live broadcast can continue. By then, President Benjamin Asher is tied up and being brutally beaten on camera while Kamran vents his rage over the death of his sister and family. At the same time, Mike Banning silently sneaks into the building through a damaged wall and slowly moves toward the room where the president is being held. But when several terrorists suddenly spot him, Mike explodes into action, taking down 7 or 8 attackers almost by himself in a massive firefight, while Delta Force soldiers storm the building alongside him. Meanwhile, Sultan manages to restore the emergency power, allowing the execution broadcast to go live again. Kamran forces Benjamin to deliver his final words to the world. Instead of begging for mercy, the president urges people to stand strong and resist terrorism no matter what happens to him. Furious, Kamran keeps punching him while millions watch in horror. Finally, Kamran raises a sword to execute the president live on camera, but at the very last second, Mike and Delta Force burst into the room and open fire, stopping the execution instantly. Mike then brutally attacks Kamran in hand-to-hand combat. However, Sultan suddenly pulls the pin from a grenade. The moment Mike sees it, he dives to protect Benjamin from the blast. The explosion fails to kill them, but the distraction allows Kamran to escape once again. After escaping the room, Mike Banning and President Benjamin Asher attempt to fight their way out of the building. But the moment they reach the hallway, more terrorists open fire on them from every direction. Mike and Benjamin manage to shoot down several attackers together, but eventually both of their guns run out of ammunition, leaving them trapped with no clear escape route. Realizing there's no time left, Mike contacts the Delta Force captain and orders him to detonate the explosives planted throughout the building before the assault began. Although hesitant at first, the captain finally presses the trigger, causing massive explosions to rip through the entire structure. Just before the blast reaches them, Mike grabs the president and jumps down toward a lower floor. Meanwhile, the wounded Kamran makes no attempt to escape and is consumed in the explosion alongside the remaining terrorists. Once the building collapses, Delta Force soldiers rush inside searching for survivors. After an intense search, they finally discover Mike and Benjamin alive and unharmed inside a lower room. The moment the White House learns the president survived, celebrations erupt across the command center. Elsewhere, Jacqueline uncovers the real traitor inside British intelligence, her own assistant John, who sold out his country for $20 million. When he refuses to surrender and moves toward her, Jacqueline is forced to shoot him. 2 weeks later, London slowly returns to normal as a new British government is formed under a new prime minister. By this time, Mike Banning finally welcomes his newborn child into the world and names her after Lynn, honoring the friend who sacrificed her life during the attack. After surviving the terrifying events in London, Mike once again sits down to write his resignation letter from the Secret Service, determined to leave behind the dangerous life and spend more time with his family. But while working on the letter, he watches Vice President Alan Trumbull delivering a speech on television about duty, sacrifice, and protecting the nation during difficult times. Hearing those words makes Mike realize that his mission is not over yet and that his country may still need him. So even after finishing the letter, he quietly deletes it instead of submitting it. And with that emotional moment, this intense action thriller comes to an end.